California Governor Gavin Newsom's Reparations Committee, yes, that's a real thing, will be recommending handing out over $220,000 per person to all descendants of slaves in the state of California, a non-slave state. But before we jump into that story, you guys, welcome back to the channel. If you haven't already, make sure to hit that subscribe button. And also, we're building the community over at Locals. Go join right now. It's free. It takes just seconds. JamesKlug.locals.com. You also have the option of contributing monthly for as little as 1 cup of coffee per month. That helps me go out and create more videos. Appreciate everybody that's already signed up. It's free. Go do it right now. JamesKlug.locals.com. Let's jump into this. So Daily Mail. Actually, before we talk about that, I had breakfast with a friend over the weekend, and we were talking about real estate and everything like that. He's in the real estate market. And I brought up the Reparations Committee, California's Reparations Committee, and he had never heard of it. And it seems as though a lot of people just have no clue this is a thing in California. Most people don't even know it's being talked about. We might go out and do a street video on it here soon. So I figured, if he hasn't heard about it, he's pretty in the loop when it comes to California news. I figured this would be a good topic to talk about today. So from the Daily Mail, Gavin Newsom's Reparations Committee will be recommending handing out $223,200. Don't forget about that. So it's $223,200 per person to all descendants of slaves in California for housing discrimination at a cost of $559 billion in the nation's biggest restitution effort ever. The 9-member reparations task force was formed by California Governor Gavin Newsom as part of the country's largest ever effort to address reparations for slavery. A focus on the California task force has been housing discrimination. It has been estimated that it would cost around $569 billion to compensate the 2.5 million Black Californians for setbacks between 1933 and 1977, according to the New York Times. So a couple questions there. First of all of those Black Californians, 2.5 million, they wouldn't all be descendants of slaves, but also, why would they have to be descendants of slaves if it's having to do with housing discrimination between 1933 and 1977? And then also there were other groups in the United States that were discriminated against with redlining, such as Irish, early in that time as well. Many people have been affected by housing discrimination, but it's just descendants of slaves, or it's just Black people in the state of California? Also, how do you determine who gets the money? What percentage of like a descendant of slavery do you have to be? What's the cutoff? Like 15%? 20%? 50%? So they probably have a lot of work to do on who exactly gets money and who doesn't. That is more than California's $512.8 billion expenditure in 2021, which included funding for schools, hospitals, universities, highways, policing, and corrections. How often do you guys hear people complaining about how those groups are underfunded, or how police need more training? They might be able to use some of that money for, better school equipment and more training for police officers. However, discussions are still underway, and the panel is continuing to consider how payments should be made. Some suggested tuition and housing grants, while others proposed cash. So these groups are meeting up together, and it seems like they're coming to the conclusion that they just need, some of them are saying we need cold hard cash, and over $220,000 worth each. The task force has also identified 4 other causes for reparations: mass incarceration, unjust property seizures, devaluation of Black businesses, and healthcare. It has until June 2023 to submit its final recommendations to the legislature. Their estimations came after the task force hosted meetings across the state to meet with members of Black communities to better understand the economic impact of slavery. So they're having this conversation in 2022. Saying how were you impacted by slavery, meeting around, the state to meet with communities. The way I see it, this is just a bunch of activists meeting up with one another and come to the conclusion that they need $223,000 each. I'm not going to say that this is the most surprising thing. However, I will say, you guys, I'm a Californian. This is going to be affecting me. This is my taxpayer dollars paying for this. I have nothing to do with slavery, of course. And these people have nothing to do with slavery either. But if you are a hardworking Black American that's watching my channel right now, and they end up going through with this, I don't know. Might be a good time to move to California to get that money. Not a bad play. You guys might be thinking, wow, that's ridiculous, James. How dare you? Well, California appears to be a sinking ship anyways. Might as well get some money out of it. My money. Quote, we are looking at reparations on a scale that is the largest since Reconstruction. Task Force member, I might mispronounce this, Hovind Scott Lewis, a professor at Berkeley, told the Times, and I'm sure this professor has a very objective approach to this. The median wealth of Black households in the U.S. is $24,000 roughly, compared with the $188,000 for white households, according to the most recent Federal Reserve Board survey of consumer finances, the Times reported. So we see this figure a lot, and this is to basically say, oh, because of the color of their skin, they're here, and the white people are here. On the very front end of this, it's incredibly disingenuous to bring up these stats. One, they don't take into account multiple life decisions, cultural decisions, etc. But two, they compare Black Americans to white Americans. There's no other reason to do this except for dramatic effect, because white Americans aren't even at the top of the list when it comes to median household income in the United States. There's Indian Americans, Nigerian Americans ahead of them, Asian Americans, all totally different groups of people that are way more wealthy than white Americans in the United States. A lot of this has to do with culture and the decisions that they make as they're growing up, going into college, picking specific categories that pay higher over, getting a degree in communications. No offense to all the communications majors out there. But anyways, I right here, I wanted to pull up a video that we did maybe about a year and a half ago, and we probably need to do like a full in-depth revision of this one. But does white privilege exist? Going out to Laguna Beach asking people this, and one of the questions was, is culture a greater impact for how much you earn? Is that a greater impact than the color of your skin? Check out some of these responses.
People have different life choices. They go to different colleges, they choose different majors, they get into different fields, they work different hours. What are your thoughts on that?
Kira, you want to take that one?
I think that's white privilege to assume that those things don't come into play.
Do you guys think that culture is a stronger driving force for like a higher wage than skin color, or no?
Oh, that's a good question.
Culture.
Do you think you have more, because your skin color, do you have more of an advantage in life because of your skin than, I don't know, we can pick someone. We'll talk about LeBron James. Does he have kids? King James has kids? How about LeBron James's
I don't know sports that much, so don't get mad at me for that one.
children? Do you have more of an advantage than them?
No.
Why is that?
They have way more opportunity than I do. They have more networking capabilities, and they can always rely on their father's name.
But you have white privilege, so how do you have less of an advantage than them?
That's true. I don't.
I think you're just going along with what I'm saying right now.
I am, because I don't like to have opinions.
Is culture, does it have a bigger impact on the outcome of someone's life than skin color?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right, everyone, we are getting a lot of...
So that's just a few responses there. Aside from the girl just being afraid to have an opinion at all and just going along with me pushing back on her with an argument that I don't believe in. But we did find a lot of people, when you talk to them about the decisions that people make and where that gets you, a lot of people do lean towards, focusing, having a culture such as many Asian communities in the United States, focusing heavily on schooling and getting a higher education and getting a good degree in a high-paying field. Are those bigger contributing factors to making more money in your life? And I feel like just common sense kind of just tells you yes. However, at the very base of this conversation, what they want you to see is, these people are Black and they're still struggling because of the color of their skin. Let's move on. So after a task force meeting in September, Newsom vetoed a bill that would have extended its life. The bill, which was introduced by Assembly and Task Force member Reggie Jones Sawyer, would have allowed them to deliberate for an extra year until 2024. Okay, we have an election year there. Joan Sawyer hoped it would provide time to hear more testimony, but some disliked the idea. The bill, which would extend, is a betrayal of Black Americans. I can't talk right now. Quote, we've been waiting for 400 years. We do not need an extension. 400 years. I don't know if you have been alive that long, but also why are you waiting for this? You know, why are you waiting? Go out and make something of your life. The reason why I wanted to bring this up is because we have Gavin Newsom vetoing that bill, and I think a major focus here needs to be Gavin Newsom vetoing that bill so that decision gets made. Would people vote on this? Would it be successful in the state of California? You have a majority of Hispanics in California. That's or at least that's the majority in LA County. I believe that's the majority in the state. Would they vote for this? Would they vote for $223,000 per Black Californian? Would it even pass? Does it matter that it even passes? And that's the big question here, is Gavin Newsom appears to be gearing up for his 2024 presidential run. And it appears, since he's vetoing the extension of this, he wants this to get under his belt so he can use this as a prop to say, look at what I did in the state of California. I could do this across the nation if you vote for me. And that's a pretty strong argument there for him. You know, I know we might be looking at this saying, oh, well, this is just California. Well, if they succeed at this, which it's unlikely that they would, but if they did, this is coming to a state near you. But that aside, the virtue signal of it, saying this is what I did, that's a strong argument for Gavin Newsom when it comes to Democrats voting for him, going into the 2024 presidential run. They know it won't pass, very incredibly unlikely, but it would be similar to a Joe Biden paying off student loans. It doesn't really matter if it doesn't pass because you can run on it. And as long as you can run on it, you can say, look, I'm buying your vote here. This is what I'm going to do when I get in there. It doesn't matter if you don't deliver. People memory hole it after a few months. It doesn't matter. Let me know if you guys agree with that takeaway in the comment section down below. Also, comment your thoughts. Do you think they'll succeed at this, or our majority of California is not going to vote for reparations? Let me know down in the comment section below. If you guys enjoyed this video, please hit that like button. Make sure to subscribe for more videos and hit that bell notification button so you're notified next time I post. I'll catch you guys next time.